everybody, Kevin Crouch here with a familiar face, especially number one, if you're in Waxahachie, I mean, you know Jimmy, but if you've seen the live streams, this is Jimmy Poarch. There are some folks in some of the new counties that may not necessarily know. This is Jimmy Poarch.
Good afternoon.
Of course, I've been filming and doing these highlights of some of our sponsors, and definitely wanted to talk to you because the housing market has been doing a lot of different things, so I think we have some interesting things to talk about. We are in a gorgeous historic home, and I'm going to let Jimmy give you a few details on this house, and we'll talk a little bit more generally about the market itself.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's so great to see you guys. I love getting the text during a threatening storm or something, and you see my ugly face on the screen. So, but really appreciate your support over the years. It's been fantastic working with Kevin. I know y'all trust him, as do I. With when we're sitting in the under the stairs with a mattress and a helmet and just taking cover. So thank you, Kevin, for what you do. My name is Jimmy Poarch, as he said, and real estate broker here in Waxahachie. I've been doing that for many years, and also a real estate investor in town. So have a lot of knowledge in the housing market here. As Kevin alluded to, the market has shifted significantly since last summer. The end of last summer, interest rates, as you well know, essentially doubled. And they're into what is realistically probably about average now, 7%, maybe a little bit higher. I don't like to hear that or say it, but it's true. I think we all got a little bit spoiled to that 2 and 3% interest rates, but I think those days are really gone. And what's happened since March is the real estate market has really started to come back. It's not necessarily a seller's market as much as it was, but it's certainly not a buyer's market either. I feel like it's just kind of in between right now. So competitive average days on market is 83 days on the market. I remember when it took about 11 months to sell a house. And then I remember over the past several years, it would take a weekend to sell a house. So we're kind of in this happy average where it's just like, okay, you don't have to race over and put a bid of $30,000 over ask price, or actually I saw a lot crazier things than that. But so it's kind of stabilized, I guess you could say. So that's where the market is today. I did want to share just a little bit about this particular home that we're at. I'm in my neighborhood, which is 301 West University is where I'm at. And it's an old historic home, 1888. So just think about that. It was just all cotton fields around here. And that would have been prior to the completion of the courthouse for all you local Ellis County people that love the history like I do. 4,108 square feet, 5 bedroom, 5 bath, 3 living areas, 2 dining rooms. It's got a little library. And then it has a garage apartment, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and it sits on 7/10 of an acre, and they're asking $499 for this house. I'd love to give you a tour of it. If you can't make it, Gingerbread Trail's coming up, and I'm going to have this house is not on the Gingerbread Trail, but I am going to have it open on Saturday and Sunday for all the historic home lookers to come and check it out. And so if you just want to be a little nosy and check out an additional historic home for the tour, you can swing by. I'll be here and giving tours of the house, and you can see it. But it's a great property. Back to interest rates for just a moment. You know, a lot of people are saying, "Hey, is this going to adjust?" The Feds went up again 2 weeks ago. I don't know if they'll go up again this year. I don't think they'll go down. Maybe not. It's a little bit too speculative to guess. But right now it's pretty stable. I just don't know if there's if it's worth waiting. I do think that housing prices have come down enough to mitigate that change. So that's something that you might consider. But I know I've heard some people say, "Hey, well, I'm going to hold off buying until interest rates go down." You can always refinance. That's an option. But I'm not sure that waiting to buy is necessarily the best, but it depends on your particular situation, of course. But be glad to look at that and look at your particular home and see what it's worth, and help you with any questions that you have about buying or selling. So.
Very cool, and it can be intimidating. I mean, it really can. So it's
overwhelming.
To have someone who can help with those things. And speaking of kind of that process, I wonder if you could tell me, I always try to relate these back to weather, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and what are some of the questions that you're finding people are asking about, whether it's an old home like this or a new home,
Mm-hmm.
related to weather, when it comes to, safety, or obviously, I mean, in Texas, we're about to get into summer, so, how well does this thing cool down, that kind of thing. So what are those common questions that you get relating to Texas weather and buying a new home?
Sure, that's a great question, Kevin. The number one thing that we're seeing right now is people are asking for utility bills. For example, this particular home, 4,108 square feet. That's a big utility bill. So we want to look at that. They put in new windows in this particular house. It's well insulated. Obviously, they've got shiplap on both sides of these walls. I live in a 1895 home. They're pretty sound. They're pretty secure. The other thing that we look for during inspections, the inspector looks for this, not necessarily the real estate agent, but you can go up in the attic and you can look for spots that have potentially been leaking. You can look for water spots up in there. And then you want to look at the age of the roof and then determine if there's any hail damage and things like that. As a matter of fact, one of our friends over at Synergy Roofing just redid a house that we just sold about 3 weeks ago over on Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm. And we had to re-roof the whole thing. And, he came right out, so he's great, come out, put a new roof on it for us. And we were able to negotiate that in the contract through the insurance company. So it's great to have a team of people that work together. And just so happens that Synergy advertises with you, and yep. We're all mutual friends. But so that's something that we're going to look at. We're going to look at is the attic vented. Now the new trend with the foam, you actually don't vent them. So it's ways those goes. But there are things that we look at just to make sure the windows are sealed. Those types of issues, make sure if it's got the double pane windows that they're not cracked or anything like that. So a lot of times people are asking me for the actual copy of the utility bill because in Texas it gets hot. And you want to make sure that those AC units are going to keep up. You want to have those inspected by a licensed inspector. Check them. Did the people that lived there before, did they change their air filters? Did they clean their coils? A lot of times if you have animals, it gets clogged up with dog hair, cat hair, all those types of things. Those are things that your inspector is going to check for. So those are all really important things that you want to do. I know one of the really popular things now is the Wi-Fi sprinkler systems that you can control from your phone. And those are fantastic because if you're away on vacation and you need to set your sprinkler or adjust your sprinkler and they say it's going to rain and then it doesn't, and then you got to adjust your sprinkler. It happens.
And boy, it does.
So
or we say it's not going to rain and then you get a downpour. So,
exactly.
We do what we can, but it's Texas. It's always going to throw you off a little bit. And it's usually when you're out of town, right? It's going to catch you off guard. So real quickly, Jimmy, just give us how we can get in touch with you and, your social media, those kind of things. How can we follow up?
So I am on Facebook, which caters to my age group, I guess you could say. But my team, they have set up a TikTok and Instagram, all those. We're on all those. Facebook is the best way, but my cell phone is probably the most. Just text me, it goes to my watch. Right. There's no getting away. It's 214-801-1740. Or you can email Jimmy at highviewrealestate.com, or you can reach out through any of those social media platforms. And a lot of times I had a guy call me this week after the bond in Waxahachie passed, and he lives out by the lake. And he says, "Hey, I've lived here 30 years, and looks like they're fixing to put in a 4-lane road out in my pasture. And what am I going to do?" Well, let's take a look. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what's going on in your life. Maybe you're upsizing. You're like Kevin and I. We just keep having kids, or you're downsizing and you're getting them out of the house. Whichever end of the spectrum that you're on. We'd be honored to take a look at your situation, give you the comparable sales data on your home, business, whatever it is, and we can get that liquidated for you so you can move on to the next chapter of your life.
All right. Well, I'm going to get back in the studio and trying to keep up with this crazy May weather. I'm doing the best I can, y'all, but man, it's off the chain this year. It's
Yeah,
just
it's a little sticky
weird.
today.
Yeah, it's sticky, and then it'll be not sticky, and then we'll be right back to it. And before long, we'll be screaming and crying for every drop of rain we can
Yes.
find. But thank you so much for watching. This has been Jimmy Poarch. Of course, like I say, if you watch those live streams, he's there. And you know, if you're having trouble reaching him for whatever reason, it comes to my watch. You and I are the same
Yep.
way. I mean, it's just
We're glued
constant,
to it.
nonstop.
Yep.
You know, sensory overload. So thank you so much for talking to me, and
you,
we'll
guys.
see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.